Hello,
And welcome to
the Lazy Cast.
Starring
Us, Nick,
the Jake.
and the movies.
The movies. We should just go full like radio guy
Oh
voice.
yeah. No,
How
I
y'all
can't.
doing out there?
I don't have that in me. I imagine I'd be like more of a low energy Wolfman Jack.
Yeah.
Woo! Next record. Like
Record coming up. No, I'll be one of those like sultry guys that wears sunglasses at all times. And one of those like weird caps that's smoking a cigarette. And is like, how you doing out there? How's it going tonight?
You've reached
Next caller.
Yeah, you've reached the midnight hour.
Yeah, exactly. Play Misty for me.
I almost watched that the other day.
It's a great movie.
That is a really good movie. That was his first direct.
It was.
And
then was
yeah.
High Plains Drifter right after? That was the second.
Did he
right?
direct High Plains Drifter?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think that was his first Western.
Well, actually,
that was his first Western he made. But
his first Western was actually it was The Outlaw Josie Wales was the first one that I think he directed, and that's
really?
because he had to take it up from somebody who got fired.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
And there's a funny story behind that too.
Mm.
So when the premiere happened, like before it actually went into theaters, an executive from Warner Brothers came to watch it, and they went over to Clint afterwards, and they went up to him and they were like, "Hey, movie, I loved it, I did, but I think you could cut like 20 minutes out of it." And Clint Eastwood goes, "Well, you can do that. Well, I cut a new deal with Paramount across the street."
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And after that, that specific executive was never invited to any of Clint Eastwood's premieres ever again.
Yeah, I feel like Clint Eastwood is a man you don't want to wrong.
That is one of the things that solidified his like tough guy presence in Hollywood, which is interesting, especially because if you watch him, like some of the special features for like $1 Million Baby, he seems like a sweet old man.
Yeah,
but then you watch like what was the one around $1 Million Baby, Gran Torino.
Oh yeah,
and I
great
imagine
movie.
he's a lot more like that in real life.
Yeah, probably just very stern,
I would
no
imagine.
bullshit guy.
But he does seem like at least in interviews with people he knows, he seems to actually have fun.
There is a really great picture going around right now of, I think it's from Scott Eastwood's Instagram.
Nice.
And it's just Clint holding like his grandbaby.
Aww.
And he just looks like the happiest old man.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's great.
Still got to see the mule.
Yes, oh man, when we see the mule, that'll be its own episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll just talk about the
mule the entire time. I'd love that. That'd be great. So yeah, we're back.
We're back. So we should explain the Lazy Cast.
The Lazy Cast. Yeah, we decided to change rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're in positions where we can both lay down.
Yep.
So we just decided to do that.
Nick's on the futon. I'm taking the oversized beanbag chair. It's pretty awesome.
It is incredible, yeah. I like now that I have the time and I can talk and look around at the same time because I'm over the age of 3.
Sure.
I have
object permanence and all that stuff. Uh-huh.
I'm like really examining your room.
Yeah.
Because I've been in here a million times, but like now it's all back together.
I know. I saw you looking at my movies over there.
The movies, yeah. Well, that was only I wanted to see what one specific one was, and that was Stalker.
Oh yeah.
Which I know nothing about Stalker.
I still haven't seen it. It's a Tarkovsky movie.
Okay.
It's like Russian surrealism.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's
terrifying.
I've seen Solaris, which was apparently his response to Kubrick's 2001.
Okay, I was gonna say that sounds like a response to 2001.
Yeah,
is it good?
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. It was basically just like he felt that 2001 was too cold and unemotional. Okay. So Solaris is all about this guy who goes to a space station over this planet called Solaris because the space station is run down. A lot of people have left, and there's been a murder. And he goes there, and the whole place is unkempt. There's garbage everywhere, and there's only 3 guys left.
Okay.
And they're all super like weird to him. And then he starts to see visions of his dead wife.
Oh, wow.
And then she like becomes real again.
Damn.
It's super weird. It's good though.
Yeah, that sounds good. No, that was it. Like it was just because of the writing on it, and I had never heard of it.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, for Stalker, I mean. Solaris, no, actually, I'm thinking of a movie called Stellaris.
Stellaris?
Something like that. Yeah, because I was looking. Because who made Solaris?
Tarkovsky.
Yeah. Okay.
Although there was a remake of Solaris.
Oh, was that Steven Soderbergh?
With Clooney. Yeah, Clooney.
Okay. Yeah, oh, that's okay. I saw that today.
I
I didn't watch it today.
Oh, okay.
I was looking. Basically, somebody in my family asked me like, "What's Steven Soderbergh made?" And I was like, "I don't think I've seen a single Steven Soderbergh movie."
You definitely
I have. I've seen like when I looked at his like 40 years of career, I realized, you know, 89 was his first feature, so like nearly 40 years. He's getting there, 32 or so.
Did you see Logan Lucky? I think
no, I have
Lucky.
not.
Okay,
I have not seen Logan Lucky.
I know you haven't seen any of the Ocean's movies.
I've seen Ocean's 12 when I was a kid.
Okay,
and Ocean's 11 I've seen like the first half of, like probably like 6 to 8 months ago. And and I saw Solaris on there, so I was like, maybe it was something else I saw.
They were probably asking because there's a new Soderbergh movie.
That is exactly what it was. It's the HBO Max one.
I want to see it.
I want to see that too.
Benicio del Toro and Don Cheadle.
Yes, it looks interesting. Yeah, at the very least,
definitely.
It looks like a throwback, at least in the marketing. I don't know what the movie actually entails.
I think it's a heist movie.
Is it? Okay.
As most Soderbergh movies go. It's kind of his wheelhouse, I guess.
It seems to be, yeah. No, I have interest in that. And I'll watch Solaris, both of them. That'll be a double feature on my projector.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I wonder. Yeah, you said it was George Clooney?
Yeah, Clooney. I think Vera Farmiga's in it, but I could be misremembering.
Okay.
Speaking of Vera Farmiga, I know you haven't seen any of The Sopranos yet, but
I saw the trailer for that, and I was like, ooh, I kind of want to watch.
You should watch The Sopranos.
I might, yeah. Based off of that made me interested.
It's so crazy how much Michael Gandolfini looks like his father. Have you seen? So the kid in The Many Saints of Newark, the main kid who is on the phone,
and he's playing Tony Soprano,
playing Tony Soprano,
who was played by his own father.
Yes,
okay,
and they look identical. It's crazy.
You know what the funny thing is? I watched that trailer, and I'm very familiar with what James Gandolfini looks like, like just from the.
He's in a lot,
and Sopranos being in the zeitgeist of everything. You see the image on memes and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
I watched it, and it's so funny you say that because I was like, he doesn't look that much like.
You don't think so?
I didn't think so. No, but I again, like, if I watch the show,
that's probably
what I mean, and like I actually see his face for a long period of time and got committed to memory.
Yeah,
I'm sure I might have a different look at it. But
he's totally playing up the mannerisms that Tony has of like kind of smiling with like a snaggletooth.
But that he would know best. Like,
exactly,
yeah.
And then like kind of how he like side eyes people. Totally looks like how James does it in
that's cool.
The Sopranos.
I like that.
Yeah,
that makes me interested. Or because I'm a weird continuity whore. I like to watch things like that in chronological order, and people hate me for that. I mean, like I wanted to do that with Twin Peaks. I'm glad I didn't.
Oh,
because it
kind of Walk with Me
move
first.
Things around, but like. Ugh. I'm very interested in the idea of watching, like, Saints of Newark,
and then watching
The Sopranos.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't see how it could spoil anything for you.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah,
and if it
I mean, like, there's a couple references in the original series to stuff that happened in Tony's youth.
Yeah, that
might be more elaborated on than they are in the show.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like
and it's a movie, right? It's not a series.
It's a movie. Yeah,
so I might do that.
Written and directed by David Chase, the creator. I think he has a couple other people writing with him, but yeah.
I really want to, like, because I have a coworker who's been trying to get me to watch Breaking Bad forever.
Have you not watched Breaking Bad?
I've not seen Breaking Bad. He's been trying to get me to watch Breaking Bad and the first season of True Detective.
I still need to watch True Detective.
The thing about True Detective is I feel bad about this because, like, I told him, like, if you watch this, I'll watch this. And I did that for both Breaking Bad and True Detective.
Oh, you bastard.
And I intend to watch both of them.
And you ducked him each time?
True Detective, I feel worse for because, like, with Breaking Bad, it's just like, God, it's so much. There's, like, it's daunting to start off.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, I know there's so much. True Detective, 10 episodes, I know I can handle that. But I started to. and I was really tired. So I watched the first 3 or 4 minutes, and I was like, "This is really good."
True Detective.
Yeah, already. Yeah. And so I was like, I'll finish it later. Like I've started it now. I'll actually restart it tomorrow, and I never did. Like I plan to because it's like and I will. Like that probably first.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to finish Mr. Mercedes because I own it now. Like all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't know if they're gonna make a 4th because now that the streaming service it was a part of got absorbed by another one, and it's like up in the air, which sucks.
Well, since we're talking about all this stuff, why don't you tell us, the audience, the lazy cast,
our lazyites,
how you doing out there, lazyites? What you did this week and what you watched?
Well, what did I watch? I think I watched a movie with my dad, but I can't remember what it was. I did watch some Star Trek.
Yeah, you're like a Star Trek nerd now.
It's kind of. I'm a tenuous Star Trek nerd. I like the
would be.
I like the one Star Trek series I seem to enjoy is the one that like isn't the black sheep from the Star Trek family, but it's the first, and it was before it got to like Next Generation is pretty much a lot of like the fans today. That's what they love.
Yeah.
That and Deep Space Nine. And that kind of thing, at least from what I gather from both the things I have watched and a friend of mine who is a huge Star Trek nerd. And like his is probably Deep Space Nine, but he's like, but it's a tie with the Next Generation kind of thing. And this is just like the way somebody we both know, Cutler.
Oh, really?
He just no. This is actually separate from the really, really nerdy Star Trek nerd friend. Our other friend Cutler once said to me, actually recently I messaged him to ask him like about this. I was just like, hey, actually I kind of like Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he was just like, well, so you like Star Trek? No, he was like, yeah, the original series is like the titles alone sound like sci-fi stories in like in a book somewhere, which is so true. Whereas like the other ones, there are little bits of like actual philosophical bits in the original series, but like that Next Generation is where if that's what you're looking for, go there. But because this is weird stories and like it is literally just the Twilight Zone in space with the same cast.
It really does seem to be like that. And but that sounds awesome.
It's great. Yeah. It is so good. I just came across an episode called Mud's Women.
Nice.
And what that is they find a space con man named Harry Mudd. It's his name, like he was going by like Leo Strauss or something like that. But like his full name is like Harmont something Mudd, so he goes by Harry Mudd. And there's a funny moment where like they're all around, like he's clearly lying. And I don't know if we ever see this technology again, but it's just a lie detector machine that straight up says, that is not true. Like as he's talking.
That's
like,
so funny.
It's great. He's just like, oh, my name's Leo Strauss. That is incorrect. And then like Kirk's just looking at him like, all right, go ahead then.
Doubt.
And he's like, are you really going to believe me or the machine? And then like Spock was like, please give us your full name. Like clearly just tell us the truth.
That'd be so funny if the lie detector machine never comes up again. It's just that one episode.
It's very likely that it never sees the light of day, at least in any of the other series.
Was it on the ship?
It was on the ship.
That's so funny.
And I think that only because like that it's such a 60s idea to throw that in there for this purpose and never think about the implications of what it will have on the rest of the show.
This is like season 1.
This
right?
this is the 6th episode of season 1. Like 5th or no, it is 6th. Very early on, and I bet you we never see it again. I could be wrong, but
by the way, just to interrupt real quick, last episode we were like, oh, this is episode 9 or 10. That was episode 8.
That was it. Cool.
This is episode 9.
Sweet.
Yes.
All right. That's
just
amazing.
Wanted to clarify that for everyone.
Yeah. I'm sure people were on their toes waiting for that correction. So Harry's women. They find him and 3 women who they assume are his crew. They are not. They are basically his storage. They're what he's carrying over somewhere else.
Oh, interesting.
And and all of the human members of the Enterprise, all the male ones, are finding them like magnetizing.
Oh, so they're like sirens, basically.
Kind of. Mm-hmm. They one thing that they want, because they all grew up in shitty situations. They just want to find people and get married. They want to live normal lives and get married. And what Mud is doing is bringing them from wherever they grew up to people who will basically buy them. And setting up a deal. They're getting what they want. Mud's getting money. People are getting married, kind of thing. But what he doesn't tell them is these women are horrendous, and that he's giving them drugs to make them look incredible looking.
Jesus Christ, what?
Yeah, and they're like these weird gummies. Yeah, and it ends. This episode was interesting up until the ending, which I thought the ending was stupid. Because it was just it was these drugs, which I don't. The idea of that being a scandal, I think, is really interesting.
So wait, the twist is that they're ugly?
No, it goes farther than that. That's halfway through revealed.
Who writes these?
Gene Roddenberry.
What a genius.
Have you seen the Red Letter Media reviews for The Next Generation?
Nah, I haven't watched any of that.
They have one that's all about season 1, and they get really into, and this will make complete sense for what we just talked about. They get really into, Rich Evans himself says, Gene Roddenberry, very progressive gentleman, but when it came to sex, his attitude was, yes, please.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was a very...
He was just horny as hell.
Yeah, that was... You can see it as they get into the first season of Next Generation, they all the women are in mini skirts and things like that. And then after that, Gene Roddenberry had less control in the show, and they're actual people.
Yeah, right.
After that point.
Exactly.
So, unfortunately, the original series Star Trek does not have many strong female characters. Aurora, who is a cool character, who that actress I believe is still alive, which is cool. I think Spock is... No, there's a couple that are still not with us. But
Leonard Nimoy isn't kicking it anymore.
that sucks, yeah.
William Shatner's still alive.
Oh, he's never going to die.
No, yeah.
He's going to live forever. I remember seeing that.
Is it William Shatner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Kirk.
That's funny that his name is Shat in it.
You know the whole his effect on Halloween, right? The movie.
Well, it's his face.
Yeah,
right?
It is a bleached William Shatner Halloween mask.
Yeah.
Ironically, it was a Halloween mask.
That's
for
funny.
A '60s original series Halloween mask.
Was it the same hair? Did they implant the hair themselves, or?
Considering I can't imagine that mask was well produced, it's probably the same hair. Because it doesn't look like his hair.
Right,
You know what I mean? It's probably the hair that came with the mask. But I don't know. Maybe they did their own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks exactly like William Shatner, but I can only tell that after being, see that after being told it looks just like William Shatner. So, I don't know how much changing the hair would save them if he sued them over
No, yeah, I'm just thinking because they went to the effort to bleach it. Maybe they did put
Oh, maybe, yeah.
a hair piece on it or something.
They could have, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't even know if they bleached it or they just it ended up bleached.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were like, "This is awesome. Let's just use this." But anyway, back to Mud's women. So the very end is this fucking really kind of stupid ending about confidence, because suddenly one of those women, now that she's a little more confident, looks beautiful.
Oh my God.
Like she did when she was taking
This
the
is
drug.
just Shallow Hal.
Yeah, it is. This is Shallow Hal. I forgot about Shallow Hal.
As you should have.
I saw, you know what? As an 8-year-old, when I saw that movie, I enjoyed it. I didn't get it.
It's a Fairley Brothers movie. I
that
think.
was a Fairley Brothers. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm 60% sure.
I would believe you. They made movies like Stuck on You.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Of course, it's a Fairley Brothers movie. What else have they made recently besides Dumb and Dumber 2?
It is a Fairley Brothers movie.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Let me actually look. This is the Lazy Cast where we look at IMDb.
It's not like we never did that before.
They produce a lot of stuff. Writer, 2015. Director, here we go. The last thing they directed was Louder Milk. It seems to be a TV show. Oh, they also did the Netflix run of Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, that's cool.
2016 and 2018. And then Dumb and Dumber 2.
Okay.
Three Stooges, Hall Pass.
They made Hall Pass?
They did.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that movie sucks. They made Fever Pitch?
I've never seen Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch is a good movie. I actually have a
I like the Dumb and Dumbers. Like, they have their moments.
soft spot for that. Stuck on You. What's Stuck on You?
Stuck on You?
Oh, my God.
Greg Kinnear and
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Conjoined twins from Martha's Vineyard moved to Los Angeles so that one of them can pursue an acting career. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This movie's real?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at images of them walking around. Cher's in this? What the fuck?
That they had a big marketing push for that movie when that came out. Like, I don't know how well it did, but like
oh my God, I need to see this movie. This is so funny. How are they conjoined? By their ass? It looks like by their ass.
Yeah, I remember there being a plot point.
Considering it's a Farrelly Brothers, it's probably their ass.
Well, it's like an emotional plot point.
Oh, interesting.
That they can't get surgically removed because there's a good chance one of them would die.
They directed Osmosis Jones.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Man, they should have stuck to things like that.
What a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Farrelly Brothers did Osmosis Jones.
That's crazy.
Wow. And then Dumb and Dumber was their first movie.
Their first like actual.
Yep.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mud's Women.
Yeah, back to Mud's Women.
So yeah, there's that. But what I did like was like there's weird amounts of like serious episodes with like a joke at the end, and like basically he's leading Mud out of that planet so that they can he can be arrested for what he's done. And Mud's like, you don't have to arrest me. You could just leave me on this planet. That's about the same, right? And he's just like, oh, I'm afraid I can't do that. I can appear as a character witness at your trial, though, if you think that would help. And Mud was like, they'd throw away the key. And I was like, that's such a 60s kind of era joke. But the reason I bring this up, because it was an all right episode, but that character has recently shown up in Star Trek Discovery.
Oh?
So he's
not the same actor, I'm guessing.
No, that actor I'm certain is dead.
Yeah.
And Star Trek Discovery is set about 10 years before the original series.
Oh, interesting.
So he's younger. But so he shows up in that one episode called Mud's Women. He shows up in a later episode of the original series called I, Mud.
Okay.
Where apparently, I haven't seen this one yet, but apparently he's found himself on a planet where he is like the emperor to a bunch of androids.
Hell yeah. Wait, Discovery's like the newer one, right?
Yeah, they're going on. They're both going right now.
Okay.
They're both current. Discovery's
finished. The terrible, grim, dark one, right?
Well, I mean, it just finished season 3 and it's got great ratings, but from the people that we watch, they hate it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Like Red Letter Media hates it, and a lot of people that like original Star Trek hate it.
Okay.
It's more like apparently it's just more modern and just grim and dark and
we watched that video.
Yes,
you showed me
that's
montage.
Picard.
Oh, that's Picard.
That was specifically bits from Picard. Yeah, but the thing is, like, they kind of go the same direction from what I understand, as like lots of violence and gore and things like that.
Yeah,
and like wild space battles at the end with thousands of ships attacking each other.
A lot of money thrown at the screen.
Exactly, yeah. As much money as you could possibly imagine. It was green. This is the green
exactly
over the entire thing. So he shows up in iMud, and then he shows up after the original series ended. There was the animated series, which lasted one season.
Are you talking about the Lower Decks?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like, Star Trek, the animated series.
That's
that happened.
so funny. How many series of Star Treks are there?
Oh, okay. So we've got the original series. Then we have the animated series, the original one.
That came after the original
immediately
series?
after.
Okay.
Then the Next Generation, and then Deep Space Nine, and then Voyager, and then Enterprise. And I think that's it of like that first like huge run over that set of like 30 to 40 years. And then they focused on the movies for a while, and then it was and then they tried the new movies, and then Discovery, and then Picard and Lower Decks.
I like the new movies. I mean, I've only seen the first one.
I recently bought them.
Nice.
Because I haven't seen the first one.
You haven't seen the first one?
I haven't seen the first one. I saw
the only one I've seen.
I saw the second one on Netflix when I was like 13 or 14.
Is that the one with Khan?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it is. Who is a lot more interesting in the original series.
I'm sure.
He shows up in the original series before he's like a movie villain.
It's super funny that J.J. Abrams straight up lied.
Oh, and he said it wasn't Khan? I think
he's
that's
just like,
awesome.
that's not Khan. And then in the movie, he's like, Khan.
Yeah, he's Khan, and one of the characters like does the like they flip it. Like in Star Trek 2, the movie, like the second Star Trek movie, when Spock is dead, Kirk is like, Khan! And then in Into Darkness, Kirk dies, and Spock, the emotionless Vulcan, goes, Khan!
Man, J.J. Abrams sucks so much.
I mean, I've grown to appreciate him. I just don't think he should write anything.
Probably not.
Like, directing is fine, but like, well, and that's the thing is that was written by Alex Kurtzman, who wrote Discovery and all that.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I would blame him because I don't think J.J. Abrams had anything to do with the writing.
No, I'm going to still give a middle finger to J.J.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. When I was a kid, when I watched that when I was like 14, at that point, I couldn't remember seeing a movie at all at all recently of something that captivated me so much. Like, that movie really got my attention, and I loved it. And then I saw the third one, which is beloved by Star Trek fans, like original Star Trek fans. And I thought it was the most boring thing I've ever seen. That might change now. But
right, yeah. I want to see
Star Trek Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
And Into Darkness is the second one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I want to see them because I've only saw the first one, and I saw it with
Those can be projector movies, too.
Hell yeah.
That'd be fun, yeah.
I saw the first one in theaters with my grandpa, who was a huge Star Trek fan. And after the movie, like, I was like, oh, man, this is awesome because I'm a kid.
He didn't like it, did he?
It's like space stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, it was great, right? And he was just like, meh. He's like, it was all right.
That's great. So, Mud.
Yeah, Mud.
So, he shows up in the animated series as well for one episode. And then he shows up in Star Trek Discovery for 2 or 3 episodes, being his con man thing, and an episode of Short Treks, which is like a recent thing that they've done, of just like mini things for Star Trek. And he is portrayed by Rainn Wilson.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Harry Mudd, played by Rainn Wilson.
That's super cool.
Yep, and it's interesting because it's 10 years before.
That's why you wanted to talk about The Office.
I asked you if you, like, making sure you had seen it, because I was like, because if you have seen it through, you know who Rainn Wilson is.
Totally.
And so, and you would have seen him anyway, because we watched House of a Thousand Corpses together.
Yep.
And he was in that.
Hey, man, I've seen the major motion picture, The Rock Star, as well. Have you seen The Rock Star?
I forgot about The Rock Star. I just remember.
Award-winning movie.
Was it?
No, I don't think so. Maybe a Razzie.
Hey, man, I remember laughing when, at the beginning of the movie, when they're trying to, like, drive away from him, and they just look out the window and he's keeping pace with them on foot.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing. He's just so angry. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Although he did in the Short Treks, when he plays Harry Mudd again, he directed it.
Oh, no
way!
Which
is cool.
That's super cool. Little segue for a little for Rainn Wilson. Over the pandemic, when it was like big lockdown, everyone was like stuck inside and shit. I think it was a charity that like organized this, and basically they got a ton of actors and actresses and celebrities to recreate low-budget scenes from Princess Bride.
Oh, yes, I heard about it.
Have you seen it?
I've seen a little bit.
Oh,
I've
it's
not seen the whole
so
thing.
charming.
Yeah, is it?
It's amazing. And Rainn Wilson is in it. I'm pretty sure he plays the inconceivable guy. I forget his name.
Oh, my God, Wallace Shawn.
Yeah, he that's his scene where he does that.
Oh, he's perfect.
Yeah, and each like little segment lasts like a minute 30 to like 5 minutes. So it's always switching, and it's always like super low budget, like cardboard swords and
fun.
like outside in the woods and shit. But the very end, when the grandpa finishes reading and he's like, "Good night, kid," and the kid's like, "Oh, can you come over tomorrow and read it to me?" And he just says like, "Yeah, I will," or whatever. that very end is played by Carl Reiner.
Oh.
Right before he died. Like a week before he died.
That's
Yeah. And it's dedicated to Carl Reiner.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, man.
Oh. That's
But it's awesome. It's on YouTube too.
To commemorate that, I'll watch Once Upon a Time a Deadpool.
Oh? Is he in that?
No.
Okay.
The idea, the framing device for Once Upon a Time a Deadpool was that, and they brought a fully aged Fred Savage back.
I think he did that in the thing too.
Oh, did he?
Like
that's great.
Fred Savage was in it.
That's wonderful.
Doing that.
He got to do that like twice in 2 years.
Actually, I think the very beginning was him being the granddad, and like it was some other like kid actor.
Oh, and then
like,
it switches
doing
around.
Yeah, it switches
That's
around.
great. I love that.
Yeah, the like multiple people play like
the same character. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah,
I might give that a chance.
Yeah,
like
even
just
like
watch.
Brandon Routh is in it. Like it's like everyone you can think of
Nice.
was like a part of it.
Good for him.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, he's kind of back on track anyway with fame now that he's a TV star.
Right.
With the Legends of Tomorrow.
What's that?
That's a DC show.
Oh, does he play Superman?
He plays the Atom. They make a joke about that. Basically, like I think he's introduced in an episode of The Flash.
Uh-huh.
And somebody's like they see something and they're like, is that a plane? Is that a bird? And it was him.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's great.
so they make fun of that. But yeah, I mean, that show I believe is still going, and it's been going on for a while. And he has appearances of that, and he always shows up on their like crossover things. And
yeah.
So he's doing all right. And he did get to play Superman again in Crisis of Infinite Earth that they did.
Right.
They revisit.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, they revisit him, and you get to see that. There are hints at Michael Keaton Batman.
Nice.
Yeah, because
nice.
there's a newspaper printed
that's happening, right? Michael Keaton's coming back to play Batman.
Absolutely, he's in it. They've already filmed
the Flash movie, right?
Yeah, in the Flash. Yeah,
right.
He's they've given him his hair from from Batman Returns and made
That's
it white.
Great. That's great.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like kind of a weird mullet, isn't it?
Kind of. I have never finished that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I just think of the one scene where he kind of breaks down. And, like, he smashes something, and, like, Bruce Wayne, not Batman, Bruce Wayne smashes something. He's like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
I'm pretty sure I have seen those movies, but it's been so long since. Because that's Burton, right?
Yeah, the first two were Burton.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, those are still in continuity with Batman and Robin and Batman Forever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you can watch an interesting decline.
Yeah, sure.
As the world completely inverts. From very gothic to like Superman movie.
Yeah, totally.
It's interesting.
But what else did you do with your week?
Oh God, Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
I The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly this morning.
Yep.
Which was a lot of fun to revisit. I mean, I have to finish it. As soon as we're done here, I'm going home and I'm resetting up my projector and I'm finishing that movie.
Hell yeah.
Because I was having such a good time. And there's so much I didn't remember, like conversation between Tuco and his brother.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, they end up at a church while he wants Clint Eastwood to get better because Clint Eastwood has the name of a grave where a bunch of money is buried.
Right.
So and he brings him there, and that happened once he realizes where he is. He asks the priest, he's like, "Is Father Ramirez in?" And he's just like, "No, he's away." And what we find out is Father Ramirez is his brother, and Father Ramirez was away because Tuco's father just died. And he was there at his to see him die,
right?
Basically,
yeah.
and Tuco was even asked for, and nobody knew where he was because he's on the run and he's a criminal. There's so much.
That movie's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I
need to watch it again.
Yeah, that'd be great. That's another projector movie.
Yeah,
like
easily.
that. And Ennio Morricone or Morricone, however you say it.
I think it's Kone.
Yeah. He phenomenal in both For a Few Dollars More and Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Like the music in that is so good.
Is he dead now?
Quentin Tarantino brought him out of retirement. He won an Oscar and then he died.
Hateful Eight. Wow, what a guy.
Yeah, the same kind of thing as Carl Reiner. Just one last goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so I love that movie. And I've been watching a lot of Sergio Leone movies. There's one more I need to watch that, because he made 2 trilogies, kind of. He made the Dollars trilogy. Then he made another one. And he doesn't want you to make any connections between any of these movies.
Yeah.
Like, in his eyes, Fistful of Dollars has nothing to do with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly besides theme and
That's
the
funny.
star. Well, I mean, like, sequels were not looked at the way they are now.
Yeah.
Like, he thought it would. I would imagine he thought it would have been like dragged down. It's like, why would you make this a sequel? It won't do as good as the first one.
Yeah.
But I'm not too certain what his thoughts on it were. He definitely made a movie he wanted to make, and it's weird that like Fistful, the first one, shows up on a lot more people's radars than like for a few dollars more.
Yeah.
And like to me, that one's the least artful.
Fistful?
Yeah, because it's just
Yojimbo.
Yeah, it's a complete remake of Yojimbo to the point where they lost the lawsuit when it came up, and which is why in Japan it was called Return of Yojimbo.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Yep.
But we'll talk about Yojimbo later.
Yeah. What about you?
My week has been crazy. I'll talk personal stuff. I recently got a new job.
Yeah.
At my local independently owned theater.
I didn't know it was independent. That's awesome.
It is.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. I'm currently working as a clerk. Hell yeah.
Nice.
And but I'm gonna be starting to run like the projector and like figuring out like
that's so good.
Putting together playlists and stuff. And it's so funny. Like I never thought about it, but the guy who was showing me like everything, and like everyone there is pretty cool. Like everyone's there pretty nice, and the vibe is cool. It's very casual. He was showing me like how you do it, and you actually have to put the trailers in like the thing.
Really?
Yeah, like that's the same thing I thought, where it's just like, oh, like one big thing and you just hit play. But no, it's like a database, and you click and drag and like take things out and put it in its own playlist, and then you have to like manually put things like the advertisements, the trailer, the advertisement before the movie, and then the advertisement after the movie.
Oh wow, okay.
And then you have to like run it to the server and like do all that stuff. And I got to go upstairs and see the projector and all that stuff. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm living the dream, baby.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it. We did it.
Yeah, we did it. This isn't an us thing.
But no, it's really cool. And even like they like do special events. And last night they were doing a Rocky Horror showing. And,
that's awesome.
But it was like a local theater troupe actually putting a play on for everyone.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
To cut you off, like at the local theater when he was.
No, you're not. I just turned your mic all the way off,
and you keep talking.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't really my uncle. He was just really good friends with my parents. But like I thought he was my uncle until he died. He was Frankenfurter.
Oh, really?
On the local thing. Every
That's
midnight
so
showing,
awesome.
he would be in front of the screen as Frankenfurter, and they're throwing rice and everything like that.
That's so sick.
Yeah. Oh, Uncle Lenny.
It's so funny that when like dudes have kids, all their like dumb idiot friends are like, "This is Uncle Teddy."
That's so true. Yeah.
This is Uncle Josh.
That's
and they
very
just leave you with them while they get drunk in the corner.
Well, that wasn't quite my experience, but
no, not me either. Thankfully.
Well, it's actually weird because
pretty funny.
Get a little personal for a second. Like the weird feeling I'm going through now is like. Not to get too personal, really, because like the last 2 years.
Hey, this is the lazy. We can do whatever we want.
The last 2 years of my life, unfortunately, like having to deal with lots of death, like between relatives and pets, unfortunate. And I learned very recently that like somebody that I grew up calling my uncle, who was not, and I've known that for years, is like very close. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, and it was a very strange feeling. It's like because he's not related to me, but it's still like, that sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyway, we made it.
We did it.
We did it. You got a job as a projectionist.
Yeah. It's a pretty small theater. There's only 4 screens, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tiny.
Yeah, it's pretty damn small, and that's why it's so nice. But it also like serves like beer and wine.
Oh wow!
And, like, alcohol, and like there is hot food, like you can get like chicken fingers.
This is
and
fucking
and, like,
awesome.
Mozzarella sticks, but yeah.
I'm sorry. Let's get you.
I know,
very
I'm so casual. I go into work today at 6, so
you just kind of mumbled over the good stuff.
that there's beer and wine,
beer
and
hot food.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Yeah,
we're going to see John Wick 4 here.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm so excited to abuse my whatever discount I get.
That's gonna be so good. I cannot wait.
Oh, I get tips.
Oh, that's
I
weird.
walked. Well, yeah, because we serve beer and wine.
Oh, that makes more
and
sense.
Food and stuff. Yeah, I walked away with $23 in my pocket yesterday.
Oh,
night.
Fuck. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was actually really funny because
that's more tips than I get. I have an actual tip job.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not the normal because so one of my priorities as like the clerk is after the movie gets out, I go in there with like me and like a couple other people clean the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
We like disinfect. It's not a deep clean because we don't do a deep clean till like at night because otherwise it would not be enough time.
Yeah.
So we just go in there, someone sweeps and someone like wipes down the seats and all that stuff. People leave I'm mad at people now. I will never leave.
Are you now just realizing how awful the movie theater experience is?
This is affecting me, so now I know it's the problem. No, no. Clean up your fucking popcorn. But someone I found on my first shift, I found like over $20 in cash.
Oh, just on the ground?
Stuffed in the side of a seat.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, hey, to my manager, what do I do with this? I just found it. And they were like, okay, put it in an envelope, and like if someone comes back, like we'll give it to them and all that stuff, like right where you found it on it.
Yeah.
If no one comes back, we'll just split it with tips.
Nice.
That's what happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll talk about video games that I've been playing. I just finished up my replay of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Nice.
Going bad. I was bad Arthur.
I was bad Arthur the first time.
You're a psychopath.
My buddy, he saw me play once, and he's just like, okay, High Plains Drifter.
We'll talk about that. Don't get me started.
And I believe he has seen it, but like I that's the kind of movie I never would have expected that person to say. So I was like, nice. And then I went back to being a psychopath.
A terrible, terrible person.
I play that game like I just got let loose out of an asylum.
That's how I was doing it as
like
well,
there is no passerby that survived an encounter with me on the road. And the only places I was civil were the places I had to be, but I still had a $2,000 bounty. I think I've gotten up to like 10,000.
That's crazy. How do you do that? You just kill a bunch of...
You just keep killing people.
Yeah.
And like your bounty will rack up and rack up and rack up.
Yeah.
I had to...
Does it max out? Do you know?
I don't think so. It might, but I had to like do the train heist. Or the bank heist maybe, but I think I had to go through the treasure hunting missions to pay off my bounty.
Oh, really?
To actually
so you can get in there?
So I could get to that point.
That's really funny.
But that game, I realized it's not hard to make money if you like know what you're doing.
Yeah.
There are so many aspects of that game I didn't. Oh, did I tell you about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid at all?
You haven't. Do you want to talk about that?
A little bit, because that actually has a plot point that ends up in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Is that Paul Newman, Robert Redford?
Yeah. Yep. And that was the movie I'm assuming Tarantino was talking about when he was revving up Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Because he was just like, DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are like the dynamic duo since Robert Redford and...
You know what? I think he did say that in the interview with Joe Rogan that just got released recently.
And it's great. And them...
Or something to that effect.
Them together is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two actors together in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is great. I did not know it was a comedy.
Oh, really?
And there is
it's a Western,
It's
right?
a Western comedy.
That's awesome.
And it's real. That's the second one I've seen. My Name Is Nobody is a Western comedy, and that is really good. But that's like Looney Tunes Western comedy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's great. But it's like as if the entire world was a Western, like a normal Western place, but the main character was Bugs Bunny. Is kind of what My Name Is Nobody is like.
That's awesome.
But Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is they're on the run. Like kind of thing, and the thing that serves as a plot point is that ends up in Red Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So they rob a train, and they have this genius idea to wait for it to come back around the other way, and they rob it again 3 months later.
No one thought of this before.
Well, the thing is, like, the Butch Cassidy nor the Sundance Kid thought of it.
Mm-hmm. Who's who?
Oh,
I'm guessing Newman is Butch.
Yeah,
right?
Paul Newman was Butch. Yeah, and so they were off in town. When they come back to their gang is about to leave without them, and they're like, "Come on, guys!" And they're like, "You're not our leader anymore." And he immediately dispatches their new leader, like instantly, and like who was just like one of their gang members, basically. And he does it without hurting him. Basically, like, guy pulls a gun and he just kind of hits him.
Yeah.
And so, and so after this, like, so why were we gonna leave? And they were like, well, he had a good plan. We were gonna rob the train and then rob it in 3 months. He's like, well, that is a good idea. That is what we're gonna do. And so that's what they rob it once. And there's a guy in there, his name's Woodcock, who very much like that. He's holed himself in one section of a train, and he won't open it, and they have to blow it open with dynamite. And he's just like, basically when they stop, he's like, you should just come on out. And he's just like, well, I work for E.H. Herman, and like of whatever thing, and it's like, I cannot sell. It's just
straight up the same thing. It is.
It's the same thing. You never see E.H. Herman, but like he comes back late, like that idea keeps following them. Because what happens is he puts together like the greatest lawmen he can find into a gang to find these people.
Oh, this movie sounds great.
It is really good, but what I wanted to talk about real quick is when they rob it again, I laugh so hard. So the train stops, and they're like, all right, whoever's in there, come out. And he's just like, I work for E.H. Herman of the... And he's just like...
yeah.
Is that you, Woodcock? And he's like, Butch? And he's just like, yeah. And he's just like, I open up the door, Woodcock. And he's just like, you know, if I was going to let anybody rob this train, Butch, it would be you, but I can't. It was such a good movie.
Who made this movie?
I don't remember. Somebody old.
Sure.
But I watched it, and upon looking more up about it, I understood a Bill and Ted 2 joke.
No way, really?
I did, yeah. So there was a prequel made with two actors who were fairly well known. William Catt, who was in like the original Carrie, he had his own TV series, which was Greatest American Hero, and things like that. But it was called Butch and Sundance: The Early Years, which is notorious for being a decent movie, but hated anyway because it's a prequel to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So people hate it anyway. But even Roger Ebert was like, yeah, it wasn't great, but it was all right. Like, it was pleasant enough and things like that. So in Bill and Ted 2, when they're in heaven with death and they're looking for the alien station, and station is in those, like, split into two, and he's playing charades with a bunch of dead celebrities, like Einstein and all that. And, like, Einstein throws out, like, random names. What they are doing, what they are actually, like, trying to mimic is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So when they get over there, Death says, Butch and Sundance, the early years, and everyone looks at them all pissed off and like, boo!
Whoa!
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Wow.
I never got that as a kid. But anyway.
Yeah. I finished up Red Dead 2. Great game. Lot of fun. I just started my grounded playthrough of Last of Us Part 2.
Nice.
Which is my third time playing through it.
Nice. I haven't played it at all. I still have to play the first one.
Yeah, you still need to play the first one. It's so good.
I know.
Have you been spoiled on anything? I know we've talked about the Last of Us.
No, you inadvertently did by showing somebody else the first hour of Last of Us Part 2. Like, in front of me.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, about like a year ago or so, we went over to his house, and I was just like, I gotta go.
Oh, fuck.
So I did my best not to pay attention. I was on my phone a lot.
Oh my God. Why didn't you say anything?
I tried. I didn't want to be rude. I was like, I gotta get up early. You're like, yeah, but it's not that. I was just like, yeah, all right.
How much do you know?
I don't remember a lot.
Okay,
so
cool,
I know that the main character of the first one dies in this at some point.
Spoiler.
It's been out for like a year.
No, I know.
Like, what am I gonna? I haven't even played it. Like, that's all. But I know that doesn't happen in the first one. So
No, yeah.
So like, I'll still play it. I know also that she has the cure, like her blood.
Yeah, that's a plot
in the
point
first
that
one.
comes up
Yeah.
early in the first one.
Yeah, okay. Because I know he ends up killing doctors that were going to like take her apart.
That's the end of the
that's
first
the
one.
end. Yeah, that bit I've seen.
Which is a butterfly effect of what happens in the second one.
Oh, okay.
Because Joel murdered those doctors is the reason why
The second one happens.
Oh,
okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, and I will. I just need to get a copy of it.
Yeah,
Really?
the first one, right?
Yeah, of the first one.
I mean, I have it on PlayStation 3
Okay.
if you want it, but the only one I have for PlayStation 4 is like it's on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
But we could always do like the thing where we link accounts and stuff. And
we could do
I have
that.
Resident Evil 8 too.
Plus,
so
I actually
if you want that.
I want my own copy of it.
Sure,
'cause
yeah.
I'm sure I'd actually enjoy that.
Mhm.
But Resident Evil 8, yeah, that's right. That came out, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
You
I guess to little to no fanfare because I feel like people talked about it for like a week and now like no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah, but I mean they rode that train a lot. Like it's not like
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 came out when there were no original Resident Evil games for a long time.
Yeah, because that was in the zeitgeist for a long time.
Yeah, it was forever, and it was really interesting, and it felt like horror again instead of action. And then they, I think, it was marketably, I'm sure it was profitable to make the remakes of the second and third.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if it's always there, it's gonna be less interesting when another
Totally.
one pops up. Like it's like Star Wars, like when they try to do 5 Star Wars movies in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember when that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And if it was successful, it'd still be going.
Yeah, man,
the
they should have
thing.
just done like every 3 years.
Yeah, oh yeah, like the originals?
Like the originals.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And just keep it going with other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I think the whole like movie in between the actual big ones could have worked if it was if they were smaller movies and they weren't so like in your face about what they are.
This is a Star Wars movie.
Not even that. Well, yes, actually, very much with Rogue One.
Yeah.
Solo was a little more casual about it.
Well, it's Solo. It's Han Solo is the thing.
Yeah.
And Chewbacca doing
But
that
yeah, and
shit.
I don't mind that. Like
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like it's so about
it's about that, but
Star
it's not.
Wars.
But it's not like it is. It is like from the like the taking 2 characters out
Mhm.
and like learning what happened, like how they got to that point. But
well,
like,
3 actually. Lando.
oh yeah, Lando, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, who the fuck? are you
And the
talking
Falcon.
about? Yeah, but the Falcon's not a character.
Yeah, it basically is a character.
Well, by the ending of that movie, but I maintain I don't give a fuck what they say in The Empire Strikes Back.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is immoral and you like completely illogical. The ending of Solo, if Lando does not find a way to get that droid out of there.
yeah, totally.
Because it is so immoral.
It's so fucked up.
And it's like, imagine, Jake, that you had a girlfriend, and for some
I can't imagine that. I'm sorry. No.
some weird supernatural circumstances, she became part of the house that you lived in. Now, I doubt
What would you do?
Not only that, but would you like use it as a gambling chip?
Well, see, here's the thing. Is
Yes,
that
I know he was cheating, but that's important. That's too important to you to gamble.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the thing about because it's a false equivalency because a droid is something that's like yes, he was in love with it. He was
That's
whatever.
it. In
But-
love with is my point.
Sure.
That
But
transcends whatever the fuck she is.
It was a thing to be used to do a thing. That doesn't really equate to a human person in a way, you know?
In Star Wars, it does.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Star Wars sucks. I hate Star Wars now. I hate it.
It's like in Star Wars, they are people.
Yeah.
You're like the only difference between people and
Oh yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Robots are people.
robots are people. Like,
I forgot what that movie was about, honestly.
Like that was the point of that character as well. Is that whole
there
thing?
was an entire scene of just robot uprising.
I kind of love that. I also loved it when like Lando's like, "What is taking you so long?" And she's like, "I found my purpose."
Yeah,
and there's just chaos behind her. I love that.
I like Woody and Alden Ehrenreich's relationship.
They were great.
Movie,
yeah, I like them a lot.
It's so sad that Alden Ehrenreich, he kind of got fucked over with Solo because have you seen Hail Caesar? The Coens' Hail Caesar?
No, I heard that movie wasn't great anyway, but I do want to watch it.
It's definitely mid-tier Coen. Like, it's not, like, amazing, and it's not, like, terrible.
Okay.
But he's in it, and he fucking shines in that movie.
Does he? And he's great.
So good and charismatic
He's
in that
great
movie.
in Tetro as well, which is
I haven't seen that.
It's a Francis Ford Coppola movie. It came out in, like, 2009. It was in black and white.
Wow.
And it's about this kid who... he's like, I think Alden Ehrenreich was 17, 18 when he did it too.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to live with his brother for a little while because he hasn't seen him in years, and there's a lot of twists and turns on the way. It's a drama, but it's like it's black and white drama. And when asked about it, Francis Ford Coppola said, like, it is the movie I always aimed to make, like the kind of movie I always wanted to make before I got distracted by fame and fortune.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, which is good. I like that movie quite a bit.
Well, anyways, justice for Alden.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's over for him.
No. I just want him to see him and stuff because he's so good.
I would have been fine with a Han Solo series, like TV series, like Disney Plus series with him at the helm. Because, like, there's always... They use that design for comics now. Like, for a young Han Solo, they use his look.
That's cool.
So there's a chance, like, he'll come back. Plus, he was contracted for 3 movies.
Right. I just want him to have his own thing because, like, it's cool to be in a big movie like that, but... He's kind of like he's not doing an impression, but he's definitely you have to emulate Han Solo.
Yeah, I think he's great in that.
No, I'm saying that he's confined.
Oh, okay.
And I want him to be bigger and better things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was the first movie I had seen him in. So I was looking for what he'd do with that character, and I think in that movie he's great. I also thought, and this is, I guess, some people disagree with me, but like. Donald Glover as Lando, I thought was great.
Yeah, no, he's
great. I think he's perfect.
Yeah,
really interesting. And
no, finish your thought.
Yeah, that was basically it. And like, all the controversy around him before and after the movie came out was ridiculous.
What was the controversy?
Well, there was the whole thing is...
he
could be
pan or something like that?
He could maybe be pansexual, and people championed it, and other people did the opposite, and like...
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
I always got the impression that Lando would fuck anyone.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
That's always the impression I got. Like, it didn't matter, and it's also like, it doesn't factor into the movie, so it's just somebody trying to get, like, people to rile up.
It's clicks.
Exactly, yeah.
Shit. Do you remember when we saw Solo? You had a bad theater experience with Solo.
I had a terrible theater experience with Solo.
I also had a bad theater experience, but yours was worse.
Well, I don't remember. I don't remember what happened to you, but that's probably because it was outshined by the 2 people I was sitting next to, who had a comment for everything that happened.
You were sitting next to Cinema Sins, bro.
It's just like, oh, really? I heard that all the time.
I'm surprised you didn't say anything.
God,
you could have just been like, "Can you please?"
I'm polite.
Yeah,
I had a coworker tell me.
No, I understand that. Yeah, talking to people and
it's like we've had several theater experiences where I've gotten close to yelling at people.
Yeah, do you remember when we saw Once Upon a Time?
That's exactly what I was talking about. I had gotten very close.
That was bad.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. While we were watching Solo, I was sitting next to one of our friends. And on the other side of me were 2 people who I'm assuming are friends, or they got along very well across some part of the movie. But they thought it was bad from beginning to end, and I knew that because they kept saying it.
They were very vocal.
They were very vocal about their opinion, and at the end, I should have been a smartass and asked them what they thought of the movie.
Yeah,
like, hey, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
But like, no, and like I think after each scene that Alden Ehrenreich did anything, they're like, God, he's so terrible. Everything
that sucks.
And the whole thing where like he at the end when Kira's like, go and I'll see you, Like, yeah, we all know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, yeah, turn around, you idiot. Things like that. It's just like, yes, we understand.
What a fucking asshole,
It's just
dude.
like, it's a movie. Of course that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, you probably also made the connection that it's not going to happen because you know who that character is, and nobody named Kira has ever showed up ever.
Yeah.
So it's like...
And also, you probably have an IQ over 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, that part of the movie isn't even bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, that's fine. It is what it is. It's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, fuck those guys. That's terrible.
It was so
cinema
annoying.
etiquette.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
wanna
why
know
I don't
why
like...
mine was bad?
Why? Did you
So,
just not like the movie?
No. I thought the movie was fine. But where I was sitting, I believe it was the friend and then you. So, like, it was me, friend, you, and then the jerks. And that friend was like, so we were in the reclining seats, right? The ones where you...
Was this friend male or female?
Male.
Okay, so there were two friends in between us.
Oh, okay. Then it was...
This is so weird for me, because usually we'd be right next to each other.
Yeah, I know. We were separate. We were separated. So he was... It was a reclining seat, so we're, like, fully reclined. Is nice. He... basically does this the entire time, and I'm putting my leg over and like sticking my foot out, and for like 80% of the movie, like it was just like the screen, and then like 20% of it was foot.
I know who it was now that I've thought about it. And I know full well that if that was me, I would have no problem just putting his foot.
No, I know.
I would have just put it on the ground.
See, if we were in opposite situations, it would have been fine, because I would have been like, "Hey, man, please be quiet,"
and
then you would have put his foot down.
I would have too. I would not have stood for that.
Yeah.
It's one thing if people I don't know are ruining my experience, but if it's somebody who is also there to have a good time with me, I'm just like, stop it, knock it off.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate though.
Yeah.
But you wanted to talk about a book.
Well, I want to talk about the movies I saw this week.
Oh, that's true.
I have a few of them. Here, we'll go through not too long. Well, The Hateful Eight I fully watched, because when we last talked, I like half
I did
watched
too,
it.
actually.
Oh, you did watch it?
I recently rewatched it on my projector. Yeah.
I think.
Ironically, it was the only. And I think it was because it was just cozy, because I was in my projector room and everything. Like, it was the only time I've ever watched that movie and almost fallen asleep.
Yeah.
But then people started shooting each other, and I woke up.
I think that's my favorite Tarantino.
It's up there.
Because I also watched Bastards.
Nice.
A couple days
Which
ago.
was your reigning champion.
Which was my reigning champion, but I think...
Hateful Eight's got something.
I don't know. I think Bastards is amazing, but I think Hateful Eight is just more mature.
Fair.
And it just like... I was telling you in the car right over here that Westerns are like slowly becoming one of my favorite genre. And like, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's great. Well, it's funny because if I were to rewatch them all, I'm afraid that Django Unchained might be my favorite.
Yeah.
Because like I like that movie.
It's so entertaining.
It's really entertaining, and my brain has a hard time remembering that it exists because it's just like, yeah, that's not real.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx was never in that movie. Quentin Tarantino never made a movie about a bounty hunter dentist. That didn't happen.
Christoph Waltz did not win an Oscar for that movie.
There is no Tarantino Western with Jamie Foxx that has rap throughout the entire movie.
That's so awesome.
That's not a thing. No, and it's like my brain just has a hard time accepting all of that. Because every time I watch it, it's like I never want to watch it, and it's never something that I feel like I want to. But when I throw it on just to throw it on, I have the greatest time.
It's so much fun.
It is such a good time. But I think my favorite really now, just technically in everything that it puts all together, would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. After the time, and it's so funny because we have friends that hate that movie.
Yeah.
And like really.
I used to hate it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't think I hated it. I just used to dislike it a lot.
What I loved is you almost said the same thing that Tarantino said about David Lynch when seeing Fire Walk with Me.
Head up his own ass.
Yeah, I love that.
I've come around on it, though.
I was the exact opposite when I saw that with you. I was like, that was so good.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? A week later, I loved it even more. Like, when it really set in, I had such a good time.
I want to be like you. There's so many, like, everyone, like, I interact with, like, on the internet and the area that I am in on the internet, like, sings Once Upon a Time's praises, like, to high heaven. Like it's like that's the be all end all best movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like not best movie of all time, but best it's Tarantino's best, and he can never do any better.
I would go as far as saying it might be the best movie that celebrates movies of all time. Like that it does incredibly well and very stylishly because it doesn't feel in your face necessarily. Parts of it do. Like Steve McQueen being giving everybody's situation.
It's a little self-indulgent. Yeah.
And that's fun if you like that era of movies. I from that there are bits that I didn't, but from that I bought a Bruce Lee collection and really got into that and watched clips of the Green Hornet and things like that, and he's bought a Steve McQueen collection because I really wanted to see that shit.
We'll talk more about it when we get to the main point, it's so funny that all the controversy that happened from the Once Upon a Time and all the everyone's hot takes on that movie has resurfaced.
That's great
because the book has come out.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the book and stuff in a little bit.
I ordered that, so it'll be.
And I've been reading it.
Yeah.
So
we can do a full book report.
Exactly. Book club.
Yeah.
Book club cast.
Lazy book club cast.
The other thing I watched for the first time, I watched Stand By Me.
Really?
I had never seen Stand By Me, and I watched it for the first time.
I'm curious.
I loved it.
Okay, I was gonna.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
After seeing that movie, Stephen King, because you were just talking about his father, Rob Reiner.
Oh, right, yeah.
Rob Reiner showed that to Stephen King before it came out, and Stephen King, when asked about it right after, at it end, he's like, "I need a moment."
Yeah, and he was crying.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. And so a lot of directors take that as some of their greatest moments is when they've affected Stephen King. Guillermo del Toro, the eyeless monster in Pan's Labyrinth made him cringe in the theater next to him.
Oh, that's so cool.
And Guillermo del Toro.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro said that was the shining moment in his career. Yeah.
Wow.
Have you seen pictures of his bookshelves?
Guillermo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that his house
Stephen King books everywhere. He has all of them.
That's so funny.
Everywhere. It puts my books to shame.
It's so crazy.
Anyway.
He rules.
Yes,
great, Stand By Me. I loved it.
It's great,
of course. I'm surprised it took me this long to see it.
Me too. That movie's incredible.
It's funny because I've literally known about that movie since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And how amazing it is, and I never watched it, and it was I think it's on Netflix.
Oh, is it?
And it was just on my list, and I was like, I think it's time I watch Stand By Me.
Yeah.
And I just flicked it on and immediately engrossed.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
just
really
so
good.
What did you think about? I love that that one story that also kind of comes around to taking a little fun with Stephen King about endings, about the kid at the pie eating contest.
Oh yeah. Where they're just that's it.
That's how it ends, and that's a fine ending, for a short story or whatever. I like that a lot, and that's it. He's like, yeah, that's how it ends. That's it.
I thought I was reading something, but that whole sequence feels so Tim Burton.
Oh, okay.
And I thought I was reading something about Rob Reiner trying to emulate some kind of style with that.
Specifically for that. That would make sense. That does feel very separate.
Yeah, because they definitely... I remember him saying that they did try to make it in the style of what a 12-year-old would imagine a story would be like.
Okay.
And also... that actually, while they were filming that scene, it actually caused a few of the extras to actually vomit.
That's awesome.
Because of just
That's so good.
Yeah, that's great.
That.
But you know what? Something that happened in that movie reminded me of you so much, and it's gonna be funny because it's not it's probably not the character you think it is.
Okay.
So, fuck. What's
the first one I thought of was the kid who
with the glasses.
No, the one who ends up in Kangaroo Jack years later, Jerry O'Connell.
Yes,
yeah.
actually,
that's the first one I
one.
thought of. For some reason, my first thought was when they asked him, or he asked the question and then answered it himself of what your favorite food would be, or if you could eat something. He was like Pez, cherry flavored Pez. I don't know why that was my first thought, but
it was him saying something. It wasn't the Pez. It was when he and God, who's the guy with the glasses?
Oh, Mouth. No, Mouth is the Goonies. The same actor.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He makes music now.
Yes, he does.
Corey Feldman.
Yes.
Him and Corey Feldman are like walking down the tracks, and I think Vern is the bigger kid's name. Is that right? Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah.
Character
Yep.
Vern.
That's Vern.
And Vern finally like cracks a joke on we'll just call him Mouth.
Yeah.
On Mouth, and like he flinches, and he's like, "Ha! I made you flinch. 2 for flinching." And then Mouth just like looks at him and just like punches him twice, and he's just like, "Ha! Gotcha." And he's just like, "But 2 for flinching." And I don't know why, but that reminded me of you so much.
That's fair. I've said things like that a lot. Oh,
Just him just being like, "But I did it." But I did it.
but that was supposed to be mine.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fair. That movie. I've had a few similar experiences, even in weird ways, like the deer.
Sure.
That he sees, and I love that where he's just like, I just never told them about it. I don't know why. And after having a very bad experience with a girlfriend when I was in high school, I was walking back home at like 2 a.m. with my friend, and we're walking like, God, probably 3 miles back to my house, and when we get to a certain point on like a hill, we hear like a rustling in like bushes, and we're both like, because it's 3 a.m. And we look over, and there's a deer looking at us, like just in the woods, like exactly across from us. And after we make eye contact, it keeps staring at us, and then it just turns around and runs back into the woods. And like of all that night, that's what I remember the most. More of that than anything else is this deer who was just like, hello, fellow friends.
That scene, I was reading about how they made it so it's open to interpretation. How do you interpret that scene of like him just seeing the deer and then being like, I never told anyone about it? Because I've seen a couple different things that like.
I've just looked at it as like this was. I mean, he's been out here with his friends for a little while, but this was him solely connecting with something out there in nature. Yeah. On his own, and that was just for him. Yeah, that's how I always looked at it anyway. Yeah.
The two things I've seen are one, it's him actually seeing something hopeful.
Okay,
like it's him being like, oh, there is actually beauty and there's nature out there, because the whole movie is him like going through trauma of his brother dying and apparently his dad hating him.
Young John Cusack.
Yeah, which I was like, John Cusack, what are you doing in here?
A little distracting, yeah.
And then Kiefer Sutherland too, which I also did not know. Kiefer was in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kiefer.
That character in the novella shows up in a different Stephen King book later.
Oh yeah. I think I read about that.
Needful Things, yeah.
But anyway, it's the thing about beauty and nature and beauty, or it's the thing about how if he told his friends, then everything that's happening is real. He doesn't want to lose that.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Yeah. I understand that, but that movie is so good.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
So good. I adore it till this day, and it's got such a interesting framework of a man like writing the story of when he was 12 years old. Yeah, I mean every Stephen King adult character is a writer. Yeah, that's how he does it. It's all about him.
Do you know why it's set in Oregon instead of Maine?
No.
It's because apparently when like the screenwriters like got a hold of the source material and were like translating it from the novella to a script, they read Portland and they thought he was talking about Oregon.
Oh wow, okay.
Not Maine.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
even though they mentioned Castle Rock and things like that.
Yeah, I guess they just didn't know.
That didn't real. Well, Castle Rock's fake.
Oh, okay.
That's a town he made up in Maine. So they would have to be Stephen King fans to make that like connection.
I guess they just were just like reading it and just writing everything down.
That's kind of funny. It would be funny. It would be funny if he was just like they looked out into the ocean. It's just like how did he? Although is Oregon on the ocean?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
It's on
I'm
West
the stupid one. Never mind.
And one more little tidbit I found out about that doing like some research and trivia and stuff. Well, River Phoenix is phenomenal.
Oh, he's great
in that movie.
So is Will Wheaton.
Yes, Will Wheaton. Apparently, that summer was the first time River Phoenix kissed a girl, drank alcohol, and smoked weed.
Really?
It was either him or Corey Feldman.
Okay.
That was like the first for them. I think it was Corey Feldman actually, but
Okay.
I think River Phoenix. It was actually he lost his virginity during that movie. Yeah,
that's funny.
But other than that, Jerry O'Connell's character, apparently during like a after party like wrap up for like a weekend like thing, one of the crew members brought pot cookies.
Oh no!
And Jerry O'Connell ate a bunch of them, and they found him out in the woods just like crying his eyes out at one point.
Oh no!
I know.
Poor Jerry O'Connell.
I know. Man, can you
okay.
imagine?
We'll get more Kangaroo Jack movies.
Yeah, one day.
Well, there was a sequel.
There wasn't
it? Was like an animated sequel, I think.
Cinema.
I mean, we're not here to get into the artfulness of the first Kangaroo Jack anyway. I saw that in theaters, by the way. I
think I might have too. Well, we are here to debate the artfulness of High Plains Drifter.
Okay.
Which I also watched this week.
And
I had thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie. It's frustrating.
It's extremely conflicting for me.
Oh, you know what I noticed when watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly today? You know how he gets his outfit for the other two movies in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? His hat and all that. He's basically wearing his High Plains Drifter outfit in the beginning of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh,
which which that movie came out way after, like High Plains Drifter. But I thought that was interesting. That's about it. Yeah,
it's pretty obvious that when Eastwood was making High Plains Drifter, he really did want to kind of put a remix on the Western genre and all that stuff. But the thing I find so conflicting about it is I think it's a great movie. I think it was really entertaining, and like I really liked the twists and turns that it took. It's just like, man, those assault scenes. They're fucking.
And I'm not defending them.
No,
but
I'm not
like
saying
I do have a weird like biblical theory about that and Pale Rider, because both him and Pale Rider.
Which I still need to see.
Yeah, Pale Rider's great. I won't spoil too much. But like I think
it's on HBO, so I'm gonna watch that eventually.
Oh, go for it's so good. Basically, they both kind of start with the character coming out of nowhere, in a sense. Like in High Plains Drifter, he just pops into frame from just being a desert. But Pale Rider is also like, this town's having trouble, and a little girl is praying. And as she's praying, he's coming into town. And like he shows up as the prayer ends. And so I like, from what he does and what both of those characters do, I think they are different two of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, because they're both similar in what they get done, but they do it differently. Or they could be avenging angels, I think is also more likely, because why would it be the four horsemen if there is no ending? You know what I mean? But they have traits of like two of the four horsemen. Like one was, I think, wrath, and the other I think I had assigned to death. I'd have to rewatch them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my whole thing. So him being wrathful is just like, everything he does is wrathful.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, everyone in that town is supposed to be not a good person.
Yeah.
They're complicit to the violence and the stuff that's going on with all these outlaws. They could easily band together as a town and just, like, get these outlaws to leave, but they just are basically cowards and don't. So I do see what you're talking about with, like, the avenging angel thing, where it is, like, them coming in and it's, like, them getting their comeuppance.
In a way,
in a way. But it's just, it's hard to watch, you know?
Oh, I saw it once 3 years ago, and I've never touched it again.
Yeah,
for those reasons.
I don't think I'm going to watch it again.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's like, I do, there's nothing like that in Pale Rider, so I'd go for it. And Pale Rider's more fun as a movie as well. And it's just a better movie, because he had been doing it for longer at that point. And just a better made movie.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, though, it's like, I like the movie a lot.
Yeah.
It's just those scenes were so distasteful.
They're hard to see, yeah. It's, if I ever did, I'd probably skip those.
Yeah.
You know, just to be like, I don't need this time around.
You don't really need them in the grand scheme of things.
Just to show how truly awful he is. Like, that puts a like an end to how, like, it shows you exactly how far his depths go.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but I guess you're right, you don't. And he wouldn't seem nearly as bad if he didn't, which is interesting.
Totally. You could, like, supplement those scenes with like,
something else.
Just something else.
He kicks a dog.
Exactly. Yeah. Or just like pushing around whoever.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
just being just a jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there
Instead
are other
of
ones.
outright just like a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I like High Place Drifter.
It's a good movie. It's just it's hard to watch. It's a lot of fun watching old westerns and seeing how they bleed into other things.
Totally.
As well. Like they're like the Unforgiven side mission in Red Dead 2, where there's that one guy who's being written about by an autobiographer. And then you find out that he was all full of shit.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's like my favorite side mission.
That is a great one. Yeah, it lasts forever. There are it's really a big one with 4 tiny side missions in it, which is so much.
You know what's funny? I've recently been seeing clips pop up of people doing those missions, and you know how at the end you go into a draw match with them, people disarming them.
Yeah,
which is super hard to do, but you can do it, and all the things that they do after they get disarmed.
Really?
So the guy on top of the train, the one you do with him, he just laughs at you, then he takes out another gun and just shoots himself.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the guy up in the mountains, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
with,
I believe so.
The big fur coat. If you disarm him, he takes out another a sawed-off shotgun and just starts shooting at you again.
Wow.
And if you disarm him again, he just runs at you and starts punching you.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I love that. I remember the farmer.
The farmer, yeah. That one's pretty good.
I love that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I loved pretty much every side mission in Red Dead. They were all fun. Anyway.
What
are we on?
We're talking about the book.
Oh, are we? You
Yes.
didn't have any more movies?
No, that was it. It was actually a pretty light week for me.
Okay, so the book. I mean, I haven't read it yet.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The
Lazy
Lazy Cast Review.
It sounds really good.
Yeah. So far it's. I actually really like the design of it. I've seen some people ragging on it, being like, "Oh, this looks like." I hate when a lot of people are saying I hate when movie screenshots are just on the cover of novelizations and stuff. But I actually think it's really tastefully done. It definitely reminds me of old 70s drugstore paperbacks.
Oh, that's fun, yeah. Well, reading it, do you imagine Rick Dalton as Leonardo DiCaprio?
I do.
Is that easy?
I don't think I can separate that.
Okay.
Because, he's on the cover.
That is fair, yeah.
Yeah, so... And I feel like Tarantino definitely chose those actors for a reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
apparently the Brad Pitt character was originally Tom Cruise was in talks.
Right.
Which
right.
I can't really.
I can't see that either.
Yeah.
No, Brad Pitt's just got way more charisma.
Yeah.
And it's Brad Pitt.
I don't think I would question for a second if Tom Cruise was the one who was in question about killing his wife. I think if it was Tom Cruise playing that character, it would be he killed his wife.
Uh-huh.
There's just something that looks crazy about Tom Cruise.
Yeah, where you could totally believe it. Whereas
100%.
Brad Pitt, you kind of look at it and go
maybe,
yeah. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe he did mean to do it. Maybe he didn't. Apparently, they go into that much more in the book.
I figured. It makes sense. Yeah, especially when you showed me the little snippets about each character at the beginning.
Yeah.
When it said that about him, that made me think it would actually go into more detail.
Yeah, because that's kind of a smaller character point in the movie.
It barely factors into the movie at all. Yeah, just so people are upset around him.
Yeah,
more
definitely.
so than anything else.
But I'm only 2 chapters in. The first chapter consists of the meeting between Rick Dalton and Al Pacino's character, Marty Schwartz. Which is completely switched around in the novel. Rick Dalton actually goes to Marty's office.
Oh, okay.
And is in there alone while Cliff is outside in the waiting room.
Wow.
And basically the whole first chapter is just him talking about all the things he's been in and name dropping actors he's worked with and all that sort of stuff. And all the beats in the movie are in there, but it's all framed around other things and him talking about all that other stuff, which is great.
That's awesome.
And I sent you that one bit where they go into Marty Schwartz's catalog a little bit more, where he was just oh, I was the one who got Lee Van Cleef into Fistful.
That's awesome.
Few more, which is great. It's very much a book where it's just references on references on references.
That's the only version of Ready Player One I think I could take.
Yeah, right? It kind of is, huh?
Yeah, well, that was the big criticism for Ready Player One, is the book version is just lists of references is basically what it is. And so that seems like what it is for me, but specifically written for somebody like me, who that's I Live and Breathe, that old crap movie. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, and the thing that is really helpful with it being a novel is that you get internal thoughts.
Oh yeah,
with characters, which is really cool. Because Rick is completely like second guessing himself all the time.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And at one point, Al Pacino's character is just like, well, the Italians want Steve McQueen, but Steve McQueen's not going to go over there, but we can get you. And he's just like, I'm the knockoff Steve McQueen? And like he starts crying. Like he's like tears well up in Rick Dalton's eyes.
In like he's taking that as a good thing? That he's,
no, he's sad.
He's upset about it. Okay.
He's just like, I'm a 2-bit.
Oh yeah, that does. And that also
they discuss about the Great Escape.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. I was curious if like that would make sense. That's going to factor in more if he was. Although I was actually wrong about my theory about that, because because they snippet his head onto Steve McQueen.
Yeah,
and they redo it like that. When we first saw that, I didn't think it was the way that they were like because he said like, yeah, I was up for it, but they weren't really ever up. Like I wasn't really ever up for it. My theory, because it was the only time we ever saw him implanted into something like that, was that he did get the part, but he wasn't up to snuff, so they switched him out for Steve McQueen.
Right.
But Mark Maron asked them that on What the Fuck because he had both Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio on there at the same time. Yeah, and it was great too because Brad Pitt is a big Mark Maron fan.
Really?
And so he
wow.
was kind of gushing about as well, which was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so
shit, I got to listen to that. It's
really good. Yeah, and you get a lot of interesting insight about those two and how certain lines in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came in. Like he's just like, "Hey, you're Rick fucking Dalton."
Yeah.
That Brad Pitt had a roommate or like a friend who was just a complete freeloader, and he drove him to an audition once. And when Brad Pitt got out of the car, he's like, "Hey, you're Brad fucking Pitt," and then he kept driving on.
Is that his real name, Brad Pitt?
I think so. I'm pretty certain because he has a brother who has the same last name.
No,
so I'm pretty certain. And Ewan McGregor has an air pilot brother. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
Apparently his call tag is OB2.
Oh, that's so great. So that's all chapter 1, and it speaking of self-indulgence, it is such a self-indulgent novel.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because it's literally so the second chapter is all about Cliff. Okay. And basically at the very end of the first chapter, Cliff like cracks a joke to the secretary outside and is just like, "I'm taking you on a date this weekend, right?" And she's like, "Hee, yeah, sure." And they like go see this like movie from Sweden, which is like some weirdo experimental sex movie.
Okay.
And the whole second chapter is like them going on the date, but also stream of conscious all of Cliff's favorite movies and how there's literally a line that's like Cliff thinks he's better than everyone because he watches movies with subtitles, so he reads movies as well.
That's so good. I love that.
And like it's so obvious that Tarantino is just like, yeah, I'm Cliff Booth. I'm so awesome. I go on dates with hot women and I watch a ton of movies.
I mean, I haven't read it, so I can't really dispute. But that's really interesting. I can't wait to read this book.
I mean, it's not something I think is a negative.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
Well, you go on Amazon or something like that, and you look at like reviews by people who've bought it. It's all like 4 or 5 stars or 1 or 2 stars. Yeah, exactly. It's very, very little in between, and then it's all like, this is crap, or this is great, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's exactly what I want, but
it
doesn't seem like it's actually a novel. It seems like the framework of a story with a bunch of Quentin Tarantino's thoughts.
Yeah.
Which that's what I want, if I'm honest with you. So
yeah. I'm only 50 pages in, and it does seem to be about that. But like, it does have a story. Like, there are character moments and stuff aside. It's like 50-50. It's like the story of what's going on, and then Cliff Booth listing his 5 favorite Kurosawa movies.
Yeah,
and talking about.
I thought that was supposed to be Rick Dalton.
No,
that was Cliff Booth.
Rick says, "Why would you go see a movie you need to read?" Rick does not care about foreign films at all.
That explains why he's so upset.
Cliff is like, every Sunday I go to like Little Tokyo to go see movies.
That's interesting.
Although there was one bit where he he takes the side of Toshiro. That's how Toshiro Mifune.
It's either Toshiro Mifune or Mifune. I'm not too certain.
When Kurosawa and him had the falling out
about Redbeard,
Cliff Booth is like, Redbeard is shit, and I'm taking Toshiro's side.
That's so good.
And he said he saw Redbeard, and then he didn't watch another Japanese movie for 2 years.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Redbeard. I've never seen Redbeard, so I can't really comment on it. But it was, you know exactly why he was so pissed off.
No.
So it was basically mostly Akira Kurosawa wanted him to grow a real beard, which he did, but he had to have it for 3 years, which completely cut off him from a lot of roles.
Sure.
That were apparently mostly at that point there were not a lot of actual beards in Japan acting because there were not a lot of roles with big beards, which is interesting, and I'm curious why. But like that's what it was. He was like, "You're cutting off my job if I do this," and he's like, "Yeah, but please." And so they had a falling out, and they didn't talk again until the director of Godzilla died.
Wow.
At their funeral, at his funeral, they were both there because they were both friends with him, and it was awkward and tense at first until apparently they both cried and embraced.
Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they never worked together again. But
man,
Redbeard's the last, and it sucks if it is shitty. If their last movie together was shitty, and they shit talked each other for years.
That's so funny.
Yeah, like that for years. Because Toshiro came to America and made the TV series Shogun, or it was like a miniseries.
Okay, cool.
And Akira Kurosawa was just like, he's selling out and things like that. But later on, afterwards, he kind of treaded back. He's just like, he's great in those. Like, he's just in those is the problem. Which is interesting, because I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty certain Tarantino is a big fan of Shogun. Which is,
I would say probably.
Most likely just from the name.
Yeah, exactly. And Toshiro being in it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which Cliff Booth says is his favorite actor. So Quentin is saying it's his favorite actor. If Cliff Booth says something, it's Tarantino saying something. That's just how it goes.
That's great.
But yeah, no, the book is really funny. And yeah, I got nothing else to say about it for now. I'm excited to keep reading it.
I read into it. Well, I'm gonna, because I got to finish The Hobbit.
When are you getting your book?
I just ordered it today. So, and because of the 4th of July and everything, it won't be here for a while, probably a week.
Yeah, and the thing is, which is really cool, is it's a cheap book. It's like $10.
I got it for $8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. That's awesome. I was surprised. I almost didn't get it because I was like, I'm probably not going to be. Oh, that's real cheap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when I went to the bookstore, there was one left.
Yeah.
And it was like, so I didn't see it up front at all, where it's like, oh, new books, and like they even had a section that was like, read it before you watch it or something like that. And I was like, oh, it might be there because it's a movie book. But it was nowhere.
Yeah.
And I had to go to like the actual section, like the fiction section, and like do like the T T-A, and like I finally found it, and it was just there with like a 2-foot space of just that, and like a bunch of space left, and I was like, oh shit, I literally found the last one. Yeah, and I like grabbed it. I like snatched it, thinking like someone was gonna get it. I was the only one. You were the only one there, store.
Yeah. Mine.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I have to finish a boring book about short people.
And then you can read a cool book about cool guys who watch cool movies.
Who are Akira Kurosawa fans.
Exactly. It's so funny, dude.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. But does that bring us to a different discussion about Akira Kurosawa?
We're back into Fistful of Thoughts. We are back.
Am I fistfulling or are you fistfulling?
I'll fistful because we're on the Kurosawa train. So your choice for me last week was Yojimbo.
Yeah.
And I liked Yojimbo a lot.
Good. It's a really good movie.
I think it's funny because samurai movies and Western movies are like sister movies.
Yeah, they're very similar, yeah.
And I think I land on the side of liking Westerns more than I like samurai movies.
That's fair, yeah.
Would you say the same, or are you opposite?
I'm not. I don't know. I like them both equally. Westerns are more easily accessible because I don't have to read them.
Yeah.
But like I probably enjoy them about the same. Really? There's a brutality that feels more compassionate in a Western, where it would usually feel cold in a samurai movie.
Totally.
And that it like kind of falls upon where you are in taste, really. But I like them both a lot. Probably Westerns.
Probably Westerns.
I would say, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's something. I feel like it's something about the mythos of America, of like the Badlands of America, and I feel much more connected to that side of things rather than like being in like feudal Japan and like villages there, like businesses trying to thrive and stuff like that. Where I'm just like, that's cool, like that's a story I can get into, but take like A Fistful of Dollars or whatever, or like something like a cowboy movie. Is Fistful set in America?
Yeah, it's set in America. It was filmed in Italy,
right,
but it was set in America. Yeah.
Yeah, where a movie like that is just like that happened in the country I live in.
Oh, I see. I never really have that kind of feeling about a lot of things. Although I found the perfect like in between for you. Then I'll have to buy it. It's called Sukiyaki Western Django.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it is...
That's the name? Sukiyaki Western Django?
Yeah, that's the name of the movie.
That's so cool.
Sukiyaki Western Django. And it is actually a loose adaptation of Yojimbo.
Uh-huh.
And what it is the two gangs that kind of like form up is like they used to be clans back in medieval Japan. But now it's been a few hundred years, and we're in the Wild West. Oh. And they're still together as gangs.
Whoa, this sounds great.
I have not seen this, so it could be crap. But I was reading about it today, and it's got a special American guest in it.
Oh, really?
Played by Quentin Tarantino.
No shit.
I'll show you a picture of it in a little while.
When was this movie made?
Like 2006, 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it an American movie or a Japanese movie?
It is a Japanese movie.
But it's set in America.
No, I think it's still set in Japan. It's just supposed to be like the Wild West, but it's Japan. Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I like just that thought is really cool. So I'll probably will pick that up sometime soon. That could be a projector movie.
Oh yeah,
that'd be great.
Speaking of Yojimbo adaptions, did you ever see the Bruce Willis one?
Oh, I know about it, but I have not seen it. No, I've heard it's all right.
The name is escaping my mind, so I don't.
That's a great name. Escaping my mind. I would never have guessed that was like a Yojimbo.
But that's another thought I had while watching Yojimbo was just like, I've seen this movie like 4 times.
Yeah, it is very, very like copied.
Yeah, and it's not like a disparage against it. It's just like so funny that's like this movie inspired like so many other movies.
And it's interesting as well as the sequel, Sanjuro. Like he made Yojimbo as a statement. Of like movies shouldn't be this violent because this is how bad it can get. So that was what it was supposed to be. But people loved it for its violence.
Yeah.
That dog in the beginning that walks out of the town with a hand in its mouth. Yeah. That itself sets it apart from any of its copies, because I can't think of anything in any of its like remakes that is as like poignant of an image as that. That tells you exactly what he's heading into. In a sense, like, it is dreadful and awful in there.
Yeah.
And
I think Kurosawa came up with that, too.
I believe he did. Yeah. But because I've watched the documentary for it, and they've talked about how that idea came, and I think it was him, but I'm not 100% certain. There's lots of, like, subtleties in that, but I had a point. Oh, so Sanjuro... He doubles down because people like the violence in that. He makes it even more violent.
Oh, hell yeah.
and it like the same thing happened.
Oh,
like,
really?
It was him being like, this is not what you should be liking. And it even cuts to the point where it's, at the ending of Sanjuro, it's a one-on-one match between him and some guy at the very, very end. And when he kills the guy, and like huge spray of blood out of the guy's chest, the people who hired him are cheering like they're like teenagers. They're all cheering and happy, and he's just like, "No, this man died." Like, and that is the only time I've ever seen an Akira Kurosawa movie where he felt like a surrogate moment where he's just like, "Why do you like this? This isn't the point of what I'm doing," which is kind of sad.
Yeah,
to know that like. He is kind of the godfather of the modern action movie.
Yeah,
in a sense,
right?
like he kind of created exactly what he didn't want.
Oh,
he would hate Tarantino movies, I feel.
Oh yeah,
you
most
know,
definitely.
which is interesting because I bet you Tarantino would be very upset by that.
I mean, that's the thing I was thinking of. I was pondering that the violence in Tarantino movies, that's been the discussion since the very first movie he ever made.
Yeah.
And I always view the violence in Tarantino movies as like, well, for one, he is a huge exploitation and B-movie fan.
Yeah.
He loves all that shit, so like the schlocky horror and all that shit has extreme violence, but it's made bad. But he has a bunch of money, so he can just do the violence but make it look cool.
Yes.
But I always find the violence to be incredibly funny. Like I believe it's the point of it is to be funny. It's not to be like, look how violent this is. Like when Major Warren blows Bob's face off.
It looks like a pumpkin explodes.
It looks like a pumpkin explodes. Like, when his face literally flies off, it's hilarious because it's so ridiculous.
And also, like, a lot of, especially when it's, like, not gun violence, like, a lot of the techniques he uses are straight out of, like 70s era Japanese movies.
Really?
Which were way ahead of our time in shit like that. Maybe I'll give it to you as, like, as a thing to watch at some point, but Lady Snowblood, which I just watched the sequel to, which Lady Snowblood, Kill Bill could easily be, he could be sued over Kill Bill. As a remake of an unauthorized remake of Lady Snowblood.
Really?
It is there are some shots that are taken straight out of it. The story is basically the same. It's not a woman who's trying to get revenge over her unborn child. It's different than that. It's kind of the opposite. It's kind of a baby who was born specifically to be a person of vengeance to avenge her family that she mostly didn't meet.
Oh, wow.
Which is interesting, but there are lots of shots that are taken directly out of this movie, and there the cuts, like whenever somebody gets actually sliced by a sword, it looks so fucking good. And I would realize, like with Kill Bill, it's the same thing, and I was like, oh, that's why. And there are lots of stuff in his movies that he's a true student of filmmaking, even though I don't think he ever went to film school.
No, I don't think so.
Because he said, there's that famous quote by him where he's just like, somebody asked him if we went to film school. He said, no, I went to films.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So I'm curious where he got so good with the camera.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just a natural thing for him.
Maybe he always played around with cameras when he was a kid and things like that.
I suppose when you watch a lot of movies, you probably just like think about it.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, they probably had the camera looking like this, and then you get a hold of one and you're just like, okay, there you go. I did it.
Oh, yeah, maybe it just came super easy for him. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Back to Yojimbo.
Yeah, Yojimbo. Some highlights for me were the violence was cool.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I liked all the characters going against each other. It was funny too.
Yeah, it's a funny movie. The Sanjuro is a funnier movie.
Right.
They actually they tried to make it a little more comedic, and it works pretty well.
Nice. I want to watch that now. And my favorite character was the guy with the gun.
Yes!
I thought that was so funny that his whole character was just like, I've got a gun.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that because that is the one thing that gave him an edge on everyone.
No, it was a total twist.
Yeah.
When he pulls out the gun, I'm just like, oh, yeah. Like, they can use guns. Like,
yeah. No one's stopping them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's terrifying. One thing I kind of liked is each of them are very much that old style of directing where they'd give them assign them an animal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The guy with the gun was a snake. You're a snake.
He definitely feels snake-like.
But what I love about Toshiro is if you notice his shoulders, the idea was he was a wolf, and he added that because he had fleas.
Oh,
that was the idea.
Great.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Which is so he just shake his shoulders like that all the time. I love that. Yeah, that shows up in the sequel as well, where he doesn't. Did you notice what his last name was? Because they always put their last name first when they say it.
Is it the name he gives to the people?
Yeah,
yeah. It was It was like the field.
It's Mulberry Fields,
right? And
then Sanjuro is his first name, which I think literally translates to 30 years old.
Yeah. That was the subtitle.
And in the sequel, I guess the idea is he's still 30 because he still says Sanjuro, but it's a different flower field.
Oh,
that
okay.
he sees.
I figured it was a fake name.
Yeah,
just because he like looks out and is just like, yeah, I'm that.
that is what I am. Yep, 30 years old.
Yeah.
I'm a mulberry field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, finish your thought. What were you gonna
I don't know. Overall, man, I that's such a great rewatch. That movie. That's easier for me to rewatch than Fistful of Dollars. That
Oh,
one
really? You think
specifically.
so?
Yeah.
I think I'd watch Fistful of Dollars
Beforehand, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I saw Fistful of Dollars, I was really bored. The very first time with you and another friend, but like rewatching it, a lot of those movies get better with age. Old movies in general get better with age, but yeah.
One thing that, and it's not the movie's fault. I think I would have liked the movie better, but HBO Max, the app, I hate it so fucking much. Like literally 7 times during the movie, it would just stop working.
Yeah.
It would just say HBO Max doesn't work, restart the app, and I would have to go out, go back on it, click on it, find it again, and then it would go back, and the quality would be terrible.
Yeah.
And I'd have to watch it for like 5 minutes before the quality
works
picks
back up. I'll let
and
you borrow
just,
the Blu-ray if you watch the sequel.
Yeah. If I ever come back to it, I definitely want to watch it on a physical version. Just I hate the HBO. That's my review. My review on it was
Max?
I hate the HBO Max app so fucking much.
My favorite aspect of that is when it says like this can no longer be played, and it's still playing behind it. Yeah, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
No,
but that was Yojimbo for me.
Yeah, would you give it on a scale of 10?
Scale of 10. I'll do out of 5 because I like 5's better.
Okay.
3.5.
3.5. Oh, that's
so
fine.
I guess it
7.
scales to like I would give it like a strong 7.5.
7.5. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I love that movie. I'd give it an 8, but I'm a little biased because like often when a movie like that comes in, I think of the film history of it as well, and that factors into everything, and that always ups it a little bit. But I like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
But that brings us to
your movie
for a few thoughts more, which I'm probably gonna be a short one. I don't have a ton to say about Dr. Strangelove or how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb. It was very funny.
It's a very
funny movie. Although like I didn't laugh out loud a ton. I did it at a couple moments. Like when the president was on the phone with the Russian leader.
So funny.
That is very funny how they just seem to have like the relationship that they
He's
had.
like, hello, Dimitri. No, I'm not doing anything right now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love that. I loved Peter Sellers.
He's so good.
In 3 different roles. Yeah. I love the ending. It was terrifying in its own way. It sucks that the sequel never got made. But what I mainly want to bring up is that it made me understand a reference to a game I played when I was like 10 years old.
Really?
Conquer's Bad Fur Day, which I'm sure I've talked to you about, and you may have played, I don't know, but there is the main antagonist has a scientist who is just a weasel version of Dr. Strangelove.
Really?
It's never been confirmed, but there's tons of people online being like, how can this not be a reference? He's got almost the same accent and voice, and it is a weasel without legs in like a floating wheelchair, and like wild hair and things like that. And it is very funny, but after it was just a moment of like, I get that now.
That's hilarious.
It is now unlocked.
Yeah.
But overall, I like that movie. I wish the sequel with Terry Gilliam would have gotten made, which would have been called The Son of Strangelove.
Which would be great.
Yeah. The idea was interesting.
Yeah, that it's just afterwards and then everyone's underground.
Under bunkers, and he has a harem of women with him like they had mentioned.
Funny.
Yeah. Great performance from George C. Scott. He is the general who is
he's so good in it,
he's
isn't
great.
he? There's that one moment where he's like freaking out and he falls and like does a back roll and like stands back up.
Yeah.
And just is so wild and wacky.
Yes. Oh, he's great. Yeah, which I never expected from George C. Scott because I've mostly seen him as like a stern older man in movies, like a larger older man. So seeing him as a fairly energetic character was really interesting. How many movies have you seen
with George C. Scott?
Yeah.
I probably couldn't name any off the top of my head, but I probably have seen a couple.
Probably, yeah. He was very, very known in his day.
some things I loved in Strangelove was at the very end when Strangelove is giving his monologue and like the plans and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, his hand is trying to come back to life or something like that.
It's coming back to life, and it's trying to
Nazi salute.
Yeah, to salute. I love that. That was terrifying, and it also that made me question everything. Like at the entire time, I was just like, "Well, what does he actually want these for?"
Yeah,
it felt like Fallout vaults.
Yes,
like he just wanted to experiment on people.
If you watch in the back, a bunch of people are breaking character.
Are they?
Yeah, like the Russian ambassador is there. He's like hiding his face.
That's great.
Because he's cracking up at how funny Peter Sellers is.
He's
a lot of that was complete improv.
Really?
The very ending and him standing up and going, "Mein Führer, I can walk," was complete improv.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's great. That was terrifying, honestly. Like,
and then just the bombs.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the same time, like as funny as him doing that was, it was also a terrifying prospect of I can't trust a single thing this person has ever said and will ever say.
Yeah.
And the great performance by Peter Sellers.
After the movie came out, legislation was actually changed in Washington.
Really?
So that something like that could never happen.
What, a movie like that?
So the situation.
Oh,
where
okay.
Someone in command sent out like the radio call to do the bombings.
Yeah.
And no one can stop him because they don't have the right call
That's
code.
okay. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Yes, thanks for that.
Thank you, Stanley Kubrick. I appreciate that very much. But that's all I really had to say.
Oh, I had one more thing I wanted to mention about Dr. Strangelove. Shoot, it's eluding me. Well. Well.
Well.
Don't remember it.
That's okay. Well, you can always come back to it.
Maybe it'll come to me by the end.
Yeah. But that, yes, are assignments.
Yeah, I feel like Solaris might be a good one for you.
Solaris, yeah.
Yeah, I can lend you my copy.
That'd be great. And I'm going to give you The Exorcist 3.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That'd be fun, yeah. I think you'll enjoy that quite a lot. You've seen the first one.
I have seen the first one.
The second one is noted as one of the worst movies ever made.
Is that the one in Egypt?
Maybe. No, the first one is also about the same girl.
Okay.
A few years later.
What's the one where they're in Egypt?
Azuzu.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Egypt, I think, is the fourth one.
I think I've seen a little bit of the fourth one.
Well, the fourth one is technically two movies.
Really?
There's Exorcist 4. Like, basically, they had somebody make a movie, and then they didn't like it. So they had somebody completely remake most of it, and they released that. And then when it didn't do well, they released the original version of it, which also didn't do well.
Oh, wow.
So there's two different Exorcist 4s.
Yeah.
which is wild. And that would be a fun projector double feature.
Oh, my God. I couldn't even imagine.
That'd be awful, actually. But, yeah, that'd be fun. Solaris. Okay, I'm going to have fun with that.
Yes, and Exorcist 3. Do you have a copy of that?
Somewhere.
Okay.
I might have to find it.
Yeah, poke around and see if you can find it. If anything, I could probably find it online.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I'll do.
Okay.
Nothing's coming to me about Dr. Strangelove. Maybe I did say
gone.
the thing. Yeah, that's kind of sad because there was something.
There was something it's ironic about that is there was something about Yojimbo that I was kind of like prying for time to try to remember, and when I just couldn't, so I let it go.
Yeah.
Two lost thoughts.
Well, I think we've come to the end of the Lazy Cast.
Yeah.
Thanks for all you listeners out there.
Thanks for listening, David Lynch.
Good night.